Hello everybody, Andy here, and today I want to look at some absolutely crazy stats about Warhammer, well, Kill Team. How crazy are we talking? Well, I would say probably crazy AF. AF, of course, meaning as foretold, naturally. Now look, okay, I know that literally nobody cares about Kill Team right now, and they're all off playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I will be too right after I finish this video, and hydrated, but I have to do my due diligence towards Kill Team. It's my thing, it's my vibe, it's my main. You know how it is, it's my squeeze. Anyway, link to the stats that you can see here, but on the page below in the description if you want to browse through all of this stuff yourself. But in this video, I want to pick out a few random data points because honestly, I think the stats are looking absolutely crazy right now. And it's good to talk about kind of why and what that means. However, stats are great, really good, but I think it might be easier to understand if we swap them into looking like a tier list. So this bad boy here is indeed the stats, and you can check them out, but if we quickly do this, oh look, it's a tier list. So this is a ranking of all of the teams as if it were a tier list, but going purely off of the BCP data that we have. Yeah. Now, of course, talking about BCP data, as you can see or could have seen, these stats come from BCP and they are missing the actual placing. So although we see win rates, we don't see, actual podiums, whether they came first, second, third anymore, which is very unfortunate. However, obviously, big up to Hot Sauce Teddy for compiling these, and if you want a more traditional read-through of the stats, go check out Can You Roll a Crit. Now that you are in a state of shock from this tier list, I assume, I'd like to say that if you're a subscriber to my channel, here's a big double hello. Wow, wasn't that great? If you want one in the next video, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment and a like. Oh, and if you really like these vibes, these immaculate vibes, consider supporting me on Patreon. You get a cool coloured name in my Discord, access to a members only area there too, and at certain tiers get digital goodies like data card templates, data cards, and my objective marker files to print out for yourself, as well as like channel updates and extra unboxing videos on occasion. Anyway, onto the show. So let's start with the basics. Above a 60% win rate are Chaos, Cultists, and Gellerpox. Do also note that with this tier list, I've also put them into, so left to right on each tier is actually the highest. So yeah, so Chaos Cultists are the highest, Gellerpox are the second highest, right? So they're the S tier. Then above the 55% win rate are Blooded, Inquisitorial Agents, and Felgor Ravagers. Just to note, this was all much harder to tell when it was just the stats page. Obviously on the tier list, I hardly need to say all of this. We then jump past the healthy range, aka the mid, and we see then that below the 45% win range are Breachers, Hunterclade, Hearthkin, Kassakin, and then just barely Hyrotech Circle. They're at like 40.1, it's like just on the line, but. And then below the 40% win rate are Kroot, Pathfinders, and Exaction Squad. So on the perfectly balanced 50% win rate line, we have the Phobos. They are exactly 50% win rate, just pointing it out. And as we always have to look at Corsairs, who have remained super consistent as the perfectly balanced team, but they're now at 45.2% win rate. So they're, if anything, it's Corsairs that make me think something's not quite right at the moment with Kill Team. Never before have Corsairs been so low, so something is definitely wrong with the game. Okay, so what's up? Why are all the numbers all over the place? The stats, to me, honestly look scattered, and quite frankly, I don't think they represent the game, like at all. Okay, no, sorry, not at all, but having Cults up the top, Gellerpox make total sense, right? But Hyrotech are way better than a 40% win rate. And according to this, Pathfinders need a massive buff. Cults and Gellerpox obviously need big buffs. We get it. Sorry, nerfs. They need big nerfs. Or who knows what I mean. But we know that. A quick note on nerfs and buffs though, just a random aside really. I'm a proponent of bringing the top factions down instead of all the factions up. If a team releases and it's bad, nobody has to deal with it. No one has to learn their broken rules. It doesn't define the game and the meta. It sucks for those that wanted to play that team, obviously, and that requires adjustments for its own reasons. But if a team releases and they're just completely OP, then every single person who actively plays the game has to deal with the broken rules. So GW's plan of like squishing to the middle is actually how I like it. You're basically making everything good for the mid, and I'm down with that. I'm down to clan. So just look, for example, at the online discourse for 40k. Is it about how much Sisters, Admech, Death Guard and Votann suck? I mean, yeah, it gets mentioned, but predominantly no, it's about Eldar, Knights and GSC. And even now that the rampant complaining has died down, it's still about what can your faction do into the big ones. Obviously, if you go onto like Reddit or the Facebooks of the individual factions, they will still be talking about their faction's issues. But no, the general consensus is, what do we do against the big three, whatever. So the top tier truly does define the game, and the bottom tier honestly just frustrates its own players, not everybody's players. Anyway, to the stats, right? The outliers and why they be lying. Do you get that? The outliers and why they be lying. Or truthin'. Cults and Gellerpox. So obviously this makes total sense. Melee is easy mode in Kill Team, and they're both strong teams, and they are attracting good players because ITD benefits melee, and in tournaments right now, open balls benefit melee due to mainly heavy terrain and doors. That all tracks, makes total sense. With all of that said, flipping to the bottom of the tiers now, Exaction have about as good of a matchup into cults as anyone, so in the current meta, I'm actually surprised to see them so low. I imagine they're getting picked off by commandos and elite teams before they get to face the top of the meta. Honestly, it's really just a classic case of Space Marines cucking themselves because they can beat Exaction Squad, but they can't beat cults, so maybe if the Marines just chilled out for a moment. Anyway, Kroot have always been a bit of a funny one. They've never had like an amazing win rate. Obviously they came out terrible, and then they got buffed, and they kind of did very mid for a long time. But now I guess those that were Kroot lovers have moved on perhaps, and so you don't have the Kroot lovers playing them, and you don't have the top tier playing them because they're not a top tier faction. They're just kind of So they're down below that 40% win rate because they're an all-rounder team, and they're quite difficult to play at their best due to every model having unique rules. But just to quickly reiterate on what I said there, them being an all-rounder team. What I mean is they don't have the firepower or fisting power to reliably take out 7 wound bodies. And as cults outnumber them, it's a total non-starter for them ever podiuming, even ignoring other tough matchups. And that is exactly why top players will not be playing them at the moment. So basically anyone that had any interest before cults of like playing Kroot at a tournament will now have moved on because they have an essentially hard counter from cults as opposed to just difficult matchups which they might have had before. Obviously, me dying on this hill, Hybridtech should be doing better than they are. Don't know why they're so low. Pass, not sure. Noisy data. Well, clearly it's the, yeah, okay, all right. Pathfinders. Bottom tier. Absolute worst team in the game, apparently, according to this handy dandy tier list that I've given you here. So guys, let's talk about the game of Kill Team where Pathfinders are the worst team, right? That tracks, sure. Okay. They were once top of the meta. Absolutely broken and busted team, obviously, and they still are in the right circumstances, let's be clear on that. They're a great example team for that reason, because despite them having such a low win rate at the moment, for example, just last weekend, they won a large tournament. Now I assume that was through managing to miss any Into the Dark matchups or something, I don't know. It's just really a good example because right now they're a very difficult team to play for new players because they're so fragile. And on most open board setups that we currently play on, they're really not very good. But if we slip back into 2 open boards, or no doors perhaps, the kind of thing that would tone down the top tier melee teams, then Pathfinders will come back to the top of the meta. I suppose my main takeaway is that Kill Team is oh so very terrain dependent, that none of these stats really mean anything, and I probably disagree with most of these placements. Well, I guess. So looking at the stats is super fun. I love some data, you know, love some data, don't we all, darling? But I don't think it really defines anything at the moment. And the problem GW has set themselves is trying to collect all of this data. How do you say it? I was making fun of an accent the first time I said that wrong, but now I've forgotten, I've blanked my brain. Mind wipe. They've kind of set themselves a very difficult task with wanting to have all teams balanced in all scenarios. Hypothetically, let's just assume that's what they want, right? Like, ideally, everyone would always have a 50% win rate into every single faction, no matter the terrain, no matter the opponent, no matter blah, blah, blah. No, not no matter the opponent, sorry, no matter the other faction you're playing. You know, in theory, the thing that defines whether you win or lose should be your skill, and that's why you want a perfectly balanced meta. But it seems, you know, I keep on harping on about Kill Team has become more and more rock, paper, scissors. I'll talk about that in a later video and define it a little bit more, because I think that's an interesting concept. But I think we are seeing more and more the terrain having such a big impact. Now, we've known this for a long time, but it seems like for whatever reason right now, and I would argue that this is due to late adoption in ITD, because having ITD-based tournaments is such a huge resource drain for local game stores that it can never be the default way to play the game. So we're getting... Anyway. Everything's a bit weird. I don't agree with most of these stats. That's what I'm saying. However, even with the stats in mind, I would say it is good to see that, you know, the majority of the teams are in B, which is, you know, B tier, which is good. They be in B, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's kind of me done, and I'm going to say that if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, guys, can I get a hydration moment from you there? I don't know about you, but I am thirsty. Damn. Is there anything better in the world? Anyway, I'm done. Anything else to say? I just played a game of 40k, 1k points. It was fun, actually. Better than the game of 2k points I played. I'll have to contemplate that. Oh, and hey, if you haven't seen, but you've somehow made it to the end of one of my videos, who knows? Who knows who you are, sir? But Play on Tabletop, my video where I'm playing Kassakin against Tau Nick, playing his Pathfinders, is coming out next week, so that's pretty hype. Definitely go and check that out, because hypothetically, if that gets an insane number of views, it means they will do more Kill Team battle reports. I think it's their best, I've seen it already, as have any Play on Tabletop patrons. I think it's their best Kill Team battle report so far, but that's because I'm in it and I'm an egotistical twat. So, hey, thanks for watching the video. Bye.